Dear audience, I regret not making more videos for this YouTube channel. I regret not making more episodes of my Minecraft survival Let's Play. But now, I'm here with episode 12 for you. I have a couple things planned, and I think I will inevitably end up with not enough time, so can we please play the intro? I am standing here in the area that we ended the previous episode. And in between episode number this one and episode number the previous one, I finished excavating this trail ruins structure. And these are the chests in which I collected all of the things that I excavated from this structure. These are a lot of blocks that we got from that, mainly gravel and of course some coarse dirt. But it's not too interesting in my opinion. These are some various items that we got that don't hold too much value in my opinion, but are still interesting nonetheless that we got them. And this is the chest with all the stuff that is valuable to me. Mainly bricks we got a lot, and we got a couple armor trims. I think all of the different armor trims you can get from a trail ruin structure. We got a lot of mud bricks, which is nice because I really love these blocks. And we got a lot of pottery shirts. Right, we also got new music disc, but I think I already showed that in the previous episode. I also really like that we got some white terracotta because I really love building with white terracotta. Lately I can't build a house without it, but that's maybe not for today. This chest right here is just some stuff that I think I brought with me when I came here and is not actually from the structure. Alright, let's go back home. Maybe take some dark oak with me because I don't think we have dark oak at our base. And let's do some other stuff that I plan to do in this episode. I'm going to stay a bit secretive about that for a moment here. Alright, we are back at base. Right now we are in the skeleton room. And the reason that I stayed a bit secretive about the thing that I planned on doing next is because that thing is actually quite boring. I want to finish this room right here. And to do so, I have brought some blocks that I want to do that with. Well, I say it's boring, because there are a couple of other things that are just simply more exciting that I want to be doing, because I have a lot of plans for this stair right here, and there is also a sheep farm that I have designed that I would like to build. But, yeah, first I'm going to finish this ceiling right here. The first step in building the ceiling of the skeleton farm is, of course, making space for it. And as you can tell, that just means mining a lot of blocks. And this is probably one of the reasons my mind thought that this is a very boring thing to do, because as you can see, this is just a slow process. And I'm going to do this off camera. Because, you know, there is not really that much interesting in watching someone mine a lot of blocks like this. I have cleared out quite a large area here above this space, and this should be enough to construct the ceiling here. The plan for this ceiling is to sort of extend these brick pillars up and sort of curve them around, and to fill in the gaps with bushy leaves, as you probably could have guessed from the blocks that I am going to build with. I am going to use the glowstone here as a sort of way to backlight the ceiling, so it's not just completely black because it's dark up there. As you can see right now, up there it's actually quite dark, and I don't like that. I like it to be more visible. The brick frame has been put in place, and I also changed something about the lighting above these leaves. I added some moss carpet so you can't notice the glowstone from down below when you look up. I did it like this. That is simply because I don't like the look of the yellow glowstone through the leaves, and I think I will do that throughout the entire ceiling. And I'm also thinking about doing the middle, like, square differently. Maybe we should use some oak wood in that one. The bushy leaves have been put in place. Now we are going to add the lights and the middle square. Ta-da! The ceiling of the skeleton room, and with that, after I cleaned up these chests, the skeleton room is now completely finished. And I have to say that I absolutely love how this room looks, and the ceiling definitely adds a lot to it. And we'll probably be using these bushy leaves in the ceiling for a lot more parts of the base here, because I plan on using them over here as well, because I just really like it, and they're very easy to build. Right, but with that, this project is now completely done, and that's really, really nice. Let's move on to the next project then, because that's how this game works. Before we do anything else, I have to get myself an easy way in and out of this place. Because right now, every time I need to get to the surface to get to my storage, I have to go up here, up into this thing, up here, then jump over to here, and then climb on the ladder. And that's just not practical. And I'm thinking of setting up a bubble column to bring me up to the surface more faster. And I think I am going to do it over here in this spot. And that is probably what we'll do next, because that is just so inconvenient what we are doing right now. For the next project, there are a couple of good candidates, because I have pre-designed a couple builds in creative mode, and our storage system up on the surface is overflowing, so that is creeping up on the priority list. But right now I just don't feel like building a storage system. In fact, I want to build a sheep farm, and I want to build it over here. And I already have the design ready, so I just have to build it. Though, just build it, I still have to gather some of the resources that I need for that. Because I want to build it using mangrove wood, and the only mangrove wood we have is just this sapling. So we first have to farm some wood before we can actually build it. And then I started digging to make space to build this sheep farm that I want to build. However, I went a bit overkill, and I made a way too big space to build this sheep farm that I want to build. As you can see, the box that I dug out is really, really big. Especially because I already know the size of this sheep farm, because I pre-designed it in creative mode. However, digging out a box that is too big is really pleasant while building, because there is nothing as annoying as not having enough space when working on something. So I hope the building process will be very quick. I do, however, think that we need to gather a couple more resources, because there is a little bit of redstone in here, actually quite a bit of redstone in here, but I think we do still have enough redstone, and other resources to build this, so it's just a quick trip to the storage system. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a fully functional sheep farm, and in the time I was still building on this, I already produced a stack and a bit of wool. All 5 of the sheep in this farm are white sheep. It's just 5 sheep. And yeah, it's fully AFKable. That means that if I stand right here, it should just produce some wool steadily. We can also turn it off. If I press this button and that light goes off, nothing in the farm will do anything. Actually, yes, I think the dispensers will still fire and shear the sheep, but the wool that gets made that way won't get collected, as you can see right here, because something happened and we do not hear the minecart go around. If you press this button, you can hear the minecart going over there. Now, at this point, nothing really happened because it's not the sheep eating the grass that happened, but it's the grass regrowing that happened, and we just have an observer that detects that. Anytime the observers detect that the sheep has eaten their grass, or the grass has regrown, but we don't really care about that case, it will send out a hopper minecart and it will go to pick up that wool. And maybe let's watch this nice demonstration here. There we go, and now the wool should end up in here after a while. The farm will shut itself off once it's completely full, but now, the fun part. You can toggle every single sheep individually. So if you really want to, you can make this farm run on like 1/5 of the power. So if we press this and that and that and that, the lights above those sheep go out. And now nothing will happen for those sheep. So when they regrow their wool, they will stay with the wool. Even the dispenser won't fire in this case. And I don't know why I wanted to add that, but it's just fun to me to add a lot of bells and whistles to my builds. And that also brings me to why I love this build so much, because I'm really in love with this sheep farm. This sheep farm is like the right amount of complicated for a good build of me. Usually when I say to myself like, I want to build a sheep farm, or I want to build whatever I want to build, usually it's farms that this happens with. But then I go into a creative world and I want to add way too many things to it. I want to make it way too complicated. And sometimes that is good, because sometimes you want to make something fancy and add lots of bells and whistles to it, but usually you don't, because building something complicated is just complicated and it takes a lot of time. And sometimes it is good to get a right balance of complicated versus simple, and I think this build does that really well for me. We continued the theme with the leaves in the ceiling, and I think we will for a very long time, because I absolutely love that way of making a ceiling. And we also have a clock here, which is nice because that allows me to tell the time from down here without having to go up. Yeah, let's explain a bit of the redstone here. And I'm not going to do it here, because if we go through here, you will notice immediately why. It's just a mess down here. And if I lay it out on the surface, I think I will have a much easier time explaining this to you, because it's just much clearer to see what is going on here. Alright, I have built myself a little mock-up version of our wool farm, so that I can explain the redstone to you more clearly. And I have to admit, while building this, I discovered that the redstone for this is actually way more complicated than I expected it to be, but don't worry, it's not too bad, and I will explain every single detail of it. Alright, and I want to start over here with this thing. The glass with the wool block in it is supposed to represent the sheep, so the white wool is the sheep that has actually managed to escape. When the sheep eats the grass, it will update the observer right here, and it will activate this repeater, as you can see. Yeah, there we go. And when that happens, this redstone will get activated, and this one as well, and that will activate this dispenser with shears on it, which shears the sheep. And I actually want to go into more detail as to why this works, because we have a slab here and this doesn't look like it is connected. And actually you can use slabs to make redstone go up vertically like this. And at any point you can just branch off and do other things. However, one has to be careful, because that only works when you go up. Downwards this does not work. And you don't have to use slabs, you can also use glass or glowstone and a couple other blocks. Alright, we use a slab here because in the farm the dispenser is kind of like built in. And I like it to have access to it at some point. The shears will run out and we have to refill them. So when we use a slab here, we can actually access it from behind. Also, in the real farm, we keep going up here, but that's not really too important here. Alright, now we have sheared our sheep, but we still have to send out the hopper minecart to collect the wool from here. And the way we do that is to go through here, and we go left here. What this is, we'll explain in a moment. And we go into this. This is something we saw earlier. This is called a monostable circuit. Let's skip what this does for now, and let's just assume our signal goes straight through, because essentially that's what it does. And then it goes through here. This will turn off, turning this on, and that will power the minecart. It will power the rail underneath this minecart, sending it off. Let's actually demonstrate that by triggering this lever right here. As you, oops, I fall down hole. Let's do that. So watch carefully on the minecart all the way in the back. Yeah, as you can see, it rides off. And then you can, of course, make the rails go wherever you want. So you want them to go underneath this block right here that I just represented with this grass block right here. Then you also want to add a hopper under this block. Oops. Then you want to add a hopper under this block so that you can pick up the wool from the hopper minecart like this, and then you link this to the chests. Alright, let's explain a little bit what we all skipped here. We just went through with our signal, but there is a lot of reasons why we do it so complicated. Let's first start with this. The reason we have this right here is actually demonstrated really well with this lever. This lever right here is the button at every sheep individually. So if we turn this on, you can see this light turns off, and if we turn this on or off, well, you can see this swaps. So the light right there is actually the light above every sheep individually. And it's just a redstone torch to flip it. Alright, but when we turn it off, this is all powered. And that works because then this dispenser is also powered. And while a dispenser is powered, you cannot power it again. Like, you can't power a dispenser twice. That means you can't really make it fire while it is powered. So this has to be unpowered for this thing to work. That is why this disables this individual sheep. And because we do it like that, this will stay on permanently when this sheep is disabled. And if we were to just let it go through here, that would mean that the rail underneath this minecart right now would stay permanently powered. And that is bad, because we don't want our minecart to be running all the time. That is why we add this, the monostable circuit. Because we saw this in the previous episode already. This sort of translates this permanent signal into a short pulse that comes out of the back, as you can see. And that solves the problem where this would be constantly on. Then we come over here and we do double torch, which is like inverting the signal and inverting it again, which is doing nothing. And the reason we do that is because we have a second button that disables the minecart over there. And we do that by doing this, essentially. Because when we power this redstone torch will always stay on, no matter what happens behind here. And that means that this minecart will always stay on its place right there. And again, using redstone torch, we can just power it through the lamp that is above the chests in the sheep room right there. And that already concludes the explanation of the redstone of the wool farm. Maybe that was a little bit chaotic, but I think it should still be clear. Let me know what you think of these explanations, actually. But yeah, that finishes this build. There is actually a bonus feature that I didn't think of a moment ago, that I also only discovered after I built this farm, when I was observing it in the world to check if it was working correctly. And that is that the lamp above the sheep blinks when the sheep eats its grass. And that is actually a really nice feature in my opinion. So if we do this, that light blinks for a fraction of a second. And that's actually a really nice touch in my opinion. And completely accidental, because I did not intend it to work like that. For the last section of this video, I just want to talk about a couple things. Firstly, I really need to clean up this mess from the previous episode. Secondly, we have caught a creeper. And thirdly, it has been a while. It has been a while since I've uploaded anything, and I actually regret not uploading more. And I plan on making more iWhat Minecraft videos soon. And with soon, I mean really soon, like within the next couple days. The new school year has started for me, and that means that there is a lot more structure in my day-to-day life. Not that that means that I have more time. I don't think that's the same thing as having structure in your time. But that does mean that I can sort of plan ahead as like, alright, that evening I want to record Minecraft videos. And actually, just so you know, there are a couple big things planned because I have pre-designed a couple things in creative mode. And I feel really happy about this episode. I feel like we did a lot of things, we made a lot of progress. That thing is amazing, even though I still have to decorate it. It has saved us so much time going up and down. And simply the fact that by hanging around in the area, we will now collect wool is just very nice in general. Also, we finished like our first relatively big project here with the skeleton room. And that is just really nice feeling. I feel like I should post that I have finished my skeleton room. Another thing that I want to talk about that is a bit sad actually is that in the time that I was gone, there has been an update. It has only been very recently, actually, but 1.20.2 is out. And I'm not sure if it is in this episode, in this update, I mean, or if it is going to happen soon in one of the following updates of Minecraft. But they are going to nerf villager trading. And especially the thing with golden apples is going to get nerfed quite a bit. And that means that this structure that we built in the previous episode, even though we haven't used it yet, is already kind of redundant. Like, not entirely, but that's a bit sad. We built something for nothing, really because I did not know that they were going to change that back when I built this. Which kind of shows how long ago it is that I played Minecraft. And I feel like, because I feel a bit cheated on, I am not going to update yet for a couple weeks. And I am first going to abuse it a little bit before I update. Because we still have like the smallest beacon possible, and I feel like next episode we should change that. And we are going to do that using this so that we haven't built it for nothing. Maybe that can come across a bit cheaty, but I'm okay with it, because afterwards, when we have a full beacon, I will update and the villagers will be nerfed. Also, that would be very sad in my head, because I am seriously, like, my head is constantly flipping between the villager breeder windmill is broken versus it is not broken. I'm not sure if it is broken or not, but right now it seems like it is not, because there is a lot of villagers in there. I'm not sure if it works or not. Let me keep it at that. I might try to swap the wheat in the top part over to carrots and see if that makes it run more reliably. But I'm not sure if it will. And if we do that, we might have to swap the villagers that are in there as well, because they have a lot of seeds in their inventory. Right. But, ladies and gentlemen, that also brings me to the end of this episode, sadly. And at the end of an episode, there is, of course, the fact of the video. And the fact of episode 12 is that the Slinky toy was invented in 1943 by Richard T. James. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of it. Also, let me know what you think of the music with that one time-lapse. And you know what? I hope I can see you in the next episode. As always, keep wondering.